In the quiet rolling hills of rural Texas, where the Bible Belt tightens around small towns like a noose, the Caffey family seemed like a picture of wholesome American life. It was March 2008, and the Caffeys lived in a modest home near Alba, a place where everyone knew each other, and church was the heartbeat of the community. Terry Caffey, a sturdy man in his 40s, worked hard as a home health aide, providing for his wife Penny and their 3 children. Penny, a devoted mother and pianist at the local Miracle Faith Baptist Church, homeschooled the kids, filling their days with scripture, music, and family bonds that felt unbreakable. The youngest, Tyler, was just 8, an energetic boy with a love for video games and outdoor adventures. Matthew, 13, was the middle child, quiet and thoughtful, often lost in books or helping his dad around the house. And then there was Erin, the 16-year-old daughter, with her bright smile and youthful innocence that masked something far darker brewing beneath the surface. Erin Caffey was the apple of her parents' eye, or so it appeared. She sang in the church choir, her voice soaring like an angel during Sunday services, drawing admiring glances from the congregation. Friends described her as bubbly, always ready with a laugh or a kind word. But in the shadowed corners of her mind, a storm was gathering. Like many teens, Erin craved independence, but her strict upbringing clashed with the wild urges of adolescence. The Caffeys were deeply religious, enforcing rules that kept their children sheltered from the world's temptations. No dating without supervision, no late nights out, and certainly no relationships that strayed from their moral code. Erin played along on the surface, but inside, resentment simmered like a pot about to boil over. It all started innocently enough at a local Sonic drive-in, where Erin worked part-time flipping burgers and serving shakes. That's where she met Charlie Wilkinson, a 19-year-old with a charming grin, a troubled past, and a penchant for rebellion. Charlie was everything the Caffeys warned against: divorced parents, a history of minor run-ins with the law, and a carefree attitude that screamed danger. But to Erin, he was excitement personified, a escape from the suffocating piety of home. Their flirtations began over shared shifts, evolving into stolen kisses in the parking lot. Soon they were inseparable, whispering promises of forever under the neon lights. Erin felt alive for the first time, her heart racing with forbidden passion. But whispers travel fast in small towns, and it wasn't long before Terry and Penny caught wind of the budding romance. The confrontation was inevitable. One evening, as the family gathered for dinner, Terry laid down the law. "He's too old for you, Erin, and he's not the kind of boy we want in this family," he said firmly, his voice laced with concern rather than anger. Penny nodded in agreement, her eyes pleading with her daughter to understand. They grounded Erin, forbidding her from seeing Charlie, hoping to nip the relationship in the bud. But instead of compliance, Erin seethed. Late at night, she'd sneak calls to Charlie, her whispers turning from love to fury. "They don't understand us," she'd say, her voice trembling with rage. Charlie, eager to prove his devotion, listened intently, his own frustrations fueling the fire. Unbeknownst to the Caffeys, their attempt to protect their daughter was planting the seeds of something monstrous. As weeks turned into months, Erin's defiance grew. She'd slip out windows after her family slept, meeting Charlie in hidden spots along country roads. Their conversations darkened, laced with fantasies of running away together. Charlie introduced her to his friend, Charles Wade, another young man with a rough edge, and his girlfriend Bobby Johnson, forming a tight-knit group bound by shared secrets. The quartet would drive aimlessly, smoking cigarettes and dreaming of a life free from rules. But Erin's complaints about her parents escalated. "They treat me like a child," she'd rant, her words dripping with venom. Charlie, smitten and impulsive, vowed to do anything for her. Little did he know Erin's mind was twisting those vows into something deadly. The Caffey home, once a sanctuary of faith and family, began to feel like a prison to Erin. During church services, she'd sit rigidly, her mind wandering to thoughts of escape. Penny noticed the change, her daughter's distant stares, the sullen silences at the dinner table. "What's wrong, honey?" she'd ask, but Erin would brush it off with a forced smile. Terry tried reasoning, even allowing supervised visits with Charlie at first. But when they discovered the couple had been intimate, the hammer came down hard. "This ends now," Terry declared, confiscating Erin's phone and grounding her indefinitely. The family dog's loyal guardians barked warnings into the night, as if sensing the gathering storm. But no one could foresee the horror that Erin's bottled rage would unleash. Whispers of the forbidden romance spread through the church community, adding layers of shame to Erin's isolation. Friends from youth group pulled away, wary of her rebellious streak. Alone in her room, Erin plotted in silence, her diary entries shifting from teenage angst to chilling calculations. Charlie, desperate to keep her, confided in Wade about Erin's wild ideas. "She says we could be together if her parents weren't around," he'd say, half joking at first. But Erin's eyes, once sparkling with joy, now held a cold gleam. The line between love and obsession blurred, and in the dead of night, a plan began to form, one that would shatter the illusion of their perfect family forever. The moon hung low over the Texas countryside on March 1st, 2008, casting an eerie silver glow on the Caffey home. Inside, the family slumbered peacefully, Terry and Penny in their master bedroom, Matthew and Tyler tucked into their shared room, dreaming innocent dreams. Erin, feigning sleep in her own bed, waited with bated breath. Her plan, hatched in whispers and fueled by twisted love, was about to unfold. Charlie Wilkinson and Charles Wade, armed with guns and a samurai sword from Charlie's trailer, crept through the shadows toward the house. Bobby Johnson idled the getaway car nearby, her hands trembling on the wheel. Erin had slipped out earlier, joining them briefly to confirm the details. "Do it clean," she urged, her voice cold as ice. Now she hid in the vehicle, heart pounding not with fear but anticipation. At around 2 a.m., the intruders forced their way through the back door, the wood creaking like a warning unheeded. The family dogs barked furiously, but a swift silencing with bullets muffled their cries. Terry stirred first, his protective instincts kicking in. He bolted upright as the bedroom door burst open. "What the—" he managed before shots rang out. Penny screamed, clutching the sheets as bullets tore into her chest. Terry lunged at the attackers, grappling with Charlie in the dark. More gunfire erupted, 5 shots into Terry's body, one grazing his head. He collapsed, blood pooling on the floor, playing dead as agony seared through him. The killers, thinking him finished, moved on to the boys' room. Matthew and Tyler, awakened by the chaos, huddled together in terror. "Mom, Dad," Matthew whispered, his voice quivering. The door flew open and the nightmare descended. Charlie fired first, hitting Matthew in the head. Tyler, the youngest, cried out, "No, please." But mercy was absent that night. Wade joined in, stabbing the boys repeatedly with the sword, their small bodies convulsing in horror. Blood splattered the walls, soaking the bed sheets in crimson. The air filled with the metallic tang of death and the guttural sounds of struggle. Outside, Erin listened from the car, her face illuminated by the dashboard light, a faint smile playing on her lips as the screams echoed faintly into the night. With the deed done, the killers doused the house in gasoline, striking matches that ignited an inferno. Flames licked up the walls, consuming the evidence and the remnants of a once happy home. Terry, miraculously alive despite his wounds, crawled through the smoke-filled hallway, his lungs burning. He burst out the front door, collapsing in the yard as the fire roared behind him. Neighbors, alerted by the blaze, called 911. Sirens wailed in the distance, but for Penny, Matthew, and Tyler, it was too late. Their charred bodies would later be pulled from the rubble, a gruesome testament to betrayal. As emergency responders arrived, Terry gasped out fragments of the horror. "2 men. Shot us, fire." He was rushed to the hospital, clinging to life through sheer will. Meanwhile, Erin, Charlie, Wade, and Johnson fled to a nearby McDonald's, laughing and joking over fries as if nothing had happened. Erin even quipped about the excitement, her demeanor shockingly casual. But cracks appeared quickly. When questioned by police later that morning, Erin's story unraveled. She claimed intruders had kidnapped her, but her calm composure raised red flags. Investigators found her phone records linking her to Charlie, and witnesses placed the group together. The arrests came swiftly. Charlie and Wade confessed, pointing fingers at Erin as the mastermind. She planned it all, Charlie admitted, his love turning to regret. Evidence mounted, the weapons traced back to them, bloodstained clothes hidden poorly. Erin's interrogation revealed her chilling indifference. "I thought it would be easier," she said flatly, showing no remorse for the slaughter of her own blood. The small town of Alba reeled in disbelief. How could the sweet church girl orchestrate such evil? Whispers of demonic influence spread, but the truth was simpler. Obsessive love twisted into deadly hate. Terry, recovering in the hospital, faced the unimaginable loss. His wife, his sons, gone in a blaze orchestrated by his daughter. Yet in his grief, seeds of forgiveness began to sprout, rooted in his faith. But justice demanded reckoning. The trials loomed, promising to expose every dark detail of that fateful night. Dawn broke over the smoldering ruins of the Caffey home, revealing a scene straight from hell. Charred beams jutted like skeletal fingers and the air reeked of smoke and death. Investigators sifted through the ashes, piecing together the nightmare. Terry Caffey, bandaged and broken in his hospital bed, recounted the intruders' voices, familiar, almost casual. They knew the house, he whispered to detectives, his eyes haunted. Suspicion fell quickly on Erin, the missing daughter. Police found her at Charlie's trailer, unharmed and oddly composed. Kidnappers took me, she claimed, but her story crumbled under scrutiny. Phone records showed late-night calls to Charlie. Witnesses spotted the group together hours before the murders. Detectives grilled Charlie first. Under the harsh interrogation lights, he broke, tears streaming as he detailed Erin's plot. She said her parents were too strict, that we couldn't be together unless they were gone, he confessed, implicating Wade and Johnson. Evidence piled up. The .22 pistol and samurai sword hidden in a ditch. Blood-soaked clothes burned in a barrel, Wade corroborated, describing the stabbing frenzy with chilling detachment. Johnson admitted driving, her hands still shaking from the adrenaline. Erin, in custody, maintained innocence at first, her wide eyes feigning shock. But confronted with her accomplices' statements, the mask slipped. "I didn't think it'd go that far," she muttered, her voice void of tears. The small town buzzed with horror. Church friends who once praised Erin's singing now whispered of satanic influences. Media descended, dubbing it the Bible Belt butchery. Terry, grappling with loss, visited Erin in jail. "Why?" he pleaded. Her response a shrug, then blame on Charlie. No apologies, just deflection. Psychologists labeled her a sociopath. Her teen rebellion twisted into psychopathy. As indictments loomed, the Caffey name became synonymous with betrayal, a cautionary tale of hidden darkness in suburbia. The trials gripped Texas in 2009. Erin, tried as an adult, faced capital murder charges. Prosecutors painted her as the puppet master, using love to manipulate her boyfriend into slaughter. She orchestrated the annihilation of her family for freedom, the DA thundered. Defense argued manipulation by older accomplices, but evidence Erin's detailed house layout sketches. Her post-murder calm sealed her fate. Charlie and Wade took pleas. Life without parole for Charlie. Death row for Wade, later commuted. Johnson got 40 years. Erin, pleading guilty, received 2 consecutive life sentences plus 25 years. No parole for decades. In prison, Erin's story evolved. Interviews revealed glimmers of remorse, but skeptics saw calculation. On Dr. Phil in 2013, she admitted planning, blaming youthful impulsivity. "I was in love, blinded," she said, tears finally flowing. Piers Morgan's 2016 sit-down delved deeper, probing her soul. "Do you feel guilt?" he asked. Erin nodded, describing nightmares of her brother's screams. Yet her eyes held a lingering chill as if the monster lurked still. Terry remarkably forgave her publicly, visiting prison to preach redemption. "Faith heals," he said, authoring books on survival. But for many, Erin's case remains a horror, proof that evil can wear a familiar face. Today, Erin rots in Gatesville Women's Prison. Her youth faded into regretful middle age. Charlie and Wade echo her isolation in their cells. The Caffey graves stand silent, a reminder of love's deadly distortion. What drives a daughter to destroy? Obsession, they say, or something darker whispering in the night. Years have bled into decades since that blood-soaked night in 2008. But the ghosts of the Caffey family linger like a curse on the Texas soil. Terry Caffey, the sole survivor, rebuilt his shattered life through unyielding faith. Remarried to Sonia, a fellow church member, he became a minister, touring prisons and pulpits with his story of radical forgiveness. "I chose to forgive Erin not for her sake, but for mine," he declares in interviews, his voice steady despite the scars. Books like Terror by Night chronicle his journey, turning personal hell into a beacon for the broken. Yet in quiet moments, Terry admits the nightmares persist. Visions of flames and screams that jolt him awake, a reminder that some wounds never fully heal. Erin Caffey, now in her 30s, molders in the Mountain View unit of Gatesville Women's Prison. her once youthful face etched with the weight of eternity. Life sentences stack like iron bars, 2 consecutives plus 25 years, ensuring she'll die behind walls unless miracles intervene. Recent podcasts in 2025 revisit her case, dubbing her the devil's daughter, but Erin claims transformation. In rare letters and interviews, she speaks of Bible study, counseling, and remorse that came too late. "I was a monster," she confessed in a 2024 Dr. Phil follow-up, her eyes hollow. But skeptics whisper of manipulation, pointing to her unchanged gaze, a predator's stare veiled in piety. Whispers from inmates hint at her isolation, haunted by spectral visits from her brothers, their accusatory whispers echoing in the cell block nights. The accomplices fare no better. Charlie Wilkinson serves life in the Polunsky unit. His love for Erin curdled into bitter regret. Charles Wade, spared death row by commutation, rots in similar confines, his samurai sword nightmares unending. Bobby Johnson, paroled after 40 years? Unlikely, as 2025 updates show her still incarcerated. A footnote in the horror. What lessons from this abyss? That evil wears the mask of innocence lurking in the hearts of the young. In Alba, the rebuilt Caffey home stands empty, locals swearing of eerie lights and cries on March nights. A warning. Love can twist into terror and blood ties snap like brittle bones. As shadows lengthen, remember, the real monsters are the ones we raise. As the calendar flips to November 2025, the Erin Caffey saga refuses to die, clawing back into the spotlight through chilling podcasts and revisited horrors. In a fictional echo of Piers Morgan's piercing gaze, imagine a dimly lit studio, where shadows dance like accusing spirits. Erin, now 33, sits chained to her past, her face a mask of feigned redemption under harsh lights. The air thickens with unspoken dread as the interviewer leans in, probing the void where her soul once resided. This finale unearths her latest confessions, drawn from recent true crime revivals like the August 2025 This Is Monsters episode and May's Women in Crime Reconsideration tales that paint her not as reformed, but as an eternal manipulator whispering from the grave. Erin, looking back at that night in 2008, "Do you see the monster you became?" the interviewer asks, voice echoing like a judgment. Erin pauses, her eyes flickering with something primal, not quite human. "I was lost in love, blinded by Charlie," she replies softly, her words slithering out like venom, but the camera catches the twitch, a smile suppressed, a glimpse of the girl who orchestrated slaughter for a boyfriend's kiss. She speaks of prison Bible studies, of letters to Terry begging forgiveness, yet her tone drips with calculation. "The screams haunt me," she claims, but listeners sense the lie. Those screams are her lullaby, a symphony of power reclaimed in dreams. The interview delves deeper, unearthing buried horrors. Erin recounts the planning anew, late-night whispers in Charlie's trailer, sketching the house like a blueprint for hell. "I thought freedom waited on the other side," she admits, her voice cracking artificially. But probes reveal no true remorse, only regret at getting caught. "If I could turn back," she trails, but the sentence hangs unfinished, as if the abyss stares back. Recent 2025 podcasts echo this. In Master of Manipulation, experts dissect her sociopathy, labeling her a siren who lured accomplices to doom. Terry's updates surface too, his ongoing ministry, his visits where he preaches grace yet admits, "Some nights, I feel her darkness reaching out." As the session ends, Erin's facade cracks. "They deserved it for caging me," she mutters off mic, a slip that chills the room. The studio lights flicker as if the ghosts of Penny, Matthew, and Tyler stir. Outside, Texas winds howl, carrying echoes of that fiery night. Erin's story warns evil doesn't die. It evolves, waiting in the hearts of the innocent. In Gatesville's cold cells, she plots her next act, parole pleas laced with lies. But the dead watch, their silence a curse eternal.